Okay. All right. It's Monday. I don't dislike Mondays. Honestly, I used to really enjoy Mondays because I used to go to the gym on Mondays. Things change, and and I enjoy my coworkers on Monday because one of my coworkers, she literally works 1 day a week and she only works on Mondays. So I enjoy working with her. So, I'm not Garfield. I don't dislike Mondays. Okay, but that's neither here nor there. We are here to do a new design for living. We are almost done. Chapter 23 is the last chapter, and then there is a conclusion. But the good news is it looks like there's a lot of interesting information in the appendix, so I might as well go ahead and do the appendix too, which will keep us doing this book for a little bit longer. Although I picked my next book, I think. I'm pretty sure. It's an old one. A really old one. I think it's a reprint of it, it's a photocopy of a reprint. So, it's nicely bound though. I think it's one of those that I bought from it's a company. There's a couple of companies, what they do is they take old books that are out of print, and then they make literally photocopies and then bind them very, very nicely. So, so, all right. What was I doing? I was doing the housekeeping. I was reminding you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. The website is creativelife.org. The constant contact email is info@creativelife.org. That will get you one email a week, tells you what's going on for the week and the month, and the hot links are hot. So click here now means it. And when I say one a week, I do mean that. However, we just entered hurricane season. So generally, if you get more than one email a week, it's usually weather related, and because we live on the Gulf Coast, and today's the first day of hurricane season. So welcome to hurricane season. All right. And then let me mention the social media. Oh, did I tell you that the email was a blind CC? Because that's kind of important. The email being a blind CC means nobody will see your email. You won't end up on anybody else's email list because of us. So there is that comfort for you. And then I'll mention the social media merely from the standpoint of we do not monetize it. We don't want to deal with the ads any more than you do. So we ask you to go like, subscribe, follow based on which platform you are on, and then engage with the individual post by reacting, commenting, sharing. It bumps us in the algorithm, so that is a free and easy way that you can support the center by getting our stuff in front of more people. So there is that. And we are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark, or Creative Life Spark. And I'm the running Rev Ryan across the social medias that I'm on. So there's that. All right. Now, a new design for living. We're almost done. This has been a ride. I really, really, really enjoyed this book. I think it is a fantastic book. I commend it to you. And I took my time through it. So, we are starting on we are doing chapter 23, and chapter 23 isn't broken down nicely into those little, categories. So I'm going to have to figure out where to, stop. So I've made a mark where I'm going to stop today, and then I'll probably stop on the next page tomorrow. And then at the very end, he does give you literally scripts for right action, for happiness, for success, for abundance. So, and I'll read all of those. I will read all of those, so that you have them. So, but let's do, like I said, chapter 23, practical suggestions. And he always starts with a quote. Now, interestingly enough, he is starting with a Bible quote today. He's quoting Matthew 17:20. If ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible to you. Now, what's really important about that, when they say a grain of mustard seed, okay? Mustard seeds are tiny, smaller than the tip of your pinky. You could probably put a dozen on the tip of your pinky. That's how little they are. And the bush is huge. From what I understand, the bush can get taller than I am. Now, that's not saying much because I'm only 5'4", but my point being, Hi, baby. Hi. You want to talk about mustard seeds? Really? Apparently he does. He's talking. What? You're talking. Come over here and talk to them. I don't know what he's talking about. So, oh, poor baby. That was Dante for you. Okay. So that's why that quote is so important, is when you look at the size of the mustard seed and then the size of the bush that it grows out of that itty bitty seed. Okay? Really cool. Somewhere I think I may have just a tiny little glass jar that has some mustard seeds in it. I vaguely remember somebody at one of the retreats having those. Okay. All right. So let's do this. Practical suggestions. There may be many who will ask, how is it done? How does one give a spiritual mind treatment? And probably rightly so. But it must always be remembered that how it is done depends on the individual doing it. And even more important, the right way of doing it can only be determined by the person themselves in and through the doing and the results achieved. Nothing will happen. There will be no results, no effects, unless there is the doing. If we want results, we must act so as to ensure that there will be results. Okay, so I appreciate that he says the right way of doing it can only be determined by the person themselves. And that's the truth. Everybody does it differently because everybody is an individual. And your way won't necessarily work for me. We teach you a basic way to do it, but then we expect that you will customize it to how it works best for you. All right. Most people find it valuable and effective to devote a specific time each morning and evening for constructive work, but no time is any better than another. Actually, one should continuously maintain an attitude and frame of mind that embodies the essence of a spiritual mind treatment. That's where I got pray without ceasing. That's where I understood what pray without ceasing meant. Pray without ceasing means that every thought has the potential to be creative, so you might as well monitor and be aware of what you were thinking 99% of the time. And even that's a lot. It's like, I read a book by a doctor dealing with autoimmunes, and he said 90% of the time. Keep your diet clean 90% of the time. Give yourself the cheat day. So don't worry about every single thought, but the trend of your thoughts. Okay? And I don't know what noise Tom's making out there, but Dante just bolted out to find out. As for the place, it doesn't matter. One should be comfortable, quiet, and free from interruption and distraction. Although some may be able to think clearly and specifically for a period of time in hectic surroundings, we mostly seem to need a place of quiet and solitude. And that is the point of regular spiritual practice, because if you practice regularly, then if you need to drop into that space when it is hectic, you can do it. I did it in the middle of a race. Well, technically at the end of the race, but right towards the end of the race, actually, I think we were through the finish line, and goofing off, and somebody fell and hurt themselves, and it was chaotic because it was one of the I think it was a bubble race, so which is probably why they fell. Neither here. So, but it was chaotic and it was loud and it was messy and it wasn't early, fairly early in the morning, but still. But when somebody fell and hurt themselves, what could I do? Treat to know that they were okay, that they were going to get up and shake it off, and that if they needed paramedics, that they were coming soon. So you can do it and that is the point of practicing. The more you practice, the more likely you are going to be able to do it in those hectic spaces. All right. As for the length of time that should be devoted to a spiritual mind treatment, this is also an individual matter. Depending on the person and the problem being dealt with, the time may vary from 1 or 2 minutes to 30 or more minutes. The deciding factor is how long does it take to make a declaration of the good desired, to become convinced, to accept intellectually and emotionally that it is so. Many have found that it is advantageous to make their treatment work oral or actually speak the words. This often makes more specific many ideas than otherwise might be very nebulous. And that is true. Sometimes if I find myself struggling, I will do them out loud for myself, even if I'm in a public place. Because like I like to do treatments when I'm walking in the park. And so sometimes I will do them, I'll do them quietly. So not to disturb the other people in the park, but, I'll do them out loud. So it does depend. Sometimes I write them down. I don't write them often, but sometimes I do that. So it's whatever you need and however long it takes you to convince yourself, because that's what you're doing. The whole process of giving a spiritual mind treatment is a relaxed, effortless endeavor. Okay? Just as there is no strain, no pressure, no forcing of things in the enjoyment of a beautiful sunset, there should be only a complete absorption in and the focusing of attention on the desired good during the giving of a treatment. It is not your willpower that you are using. You will be letting the law take care of that. You will be using God's willpower for that, not your own. Okay? Now that we have determined a place, a time, and a proper attitude, we are ready to make practical use of the 4 steps, the 4 elements which should be included in a spiritual mind treatment. These we found were recognition, identification, declaration, and acceptance. Now, we now actually use gratitude and release. We do 5, but it's very interesting, right? That here he's teaching 4 steps. In the following illustration of a spiritual mind treatment, it must be remembered that the words it contains are creative only to the extent one is able to give them value and meaning. It must also be remembered that what is said here is but an illustration of a technique. Each individual will have to devise their own effective way of thinking creatively. You must enter into every period of treatment with a complete conviction that the word you speak is instantaneously and perfectly manifest, that it is the creative pronouncement of the one mind through you at the level of your awareness, and as such, it bears the fruit of its own action. Now, I'm going to stop there. And what we will do is we will pick up his examples tomorrow, because he's about to give you a bunch of examples. And then he's going to give you even more. Because he starts out, you may start in this way with the recognition. So he's going to give you a suggestion for the recognition, a suggestion for the identification. And I may stop there. We may just do those 2. And then the next step is the declaration. And he's going to give you an example there. And it's a long one. And then there's an acceptance. So we'll see how much. And then he literally goes through and gives you suggestions for various things. So we'll work our way through them. I think the next book that I'm going to do is Science of Mind in the Light of the Bible, or maybe The Bible in the Light of Science and Mind. It's one of his older books. I got it on a whim when I was on a used book website and I saw it and I was like, oh, that looks good. And it's lined out like this, where it's little short pieces, so I don't have to figure out where to stop and start. So that's what I'll probably do tomorrow. But we will pick up with his examples for the 4 steps tomorrow. And right now, I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, wondrous day, fantastic. I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, wondrous day, fantastic day, magical day, enchanted day, wonderful day, awesome day, amazing day, a let's get this week started off on the right foot day. Although the debate on the radio this morning, the radio show was, does your week start on Sunday or Monday? I don't know. My work week starts on Monday, so there's that. So let's get this week started off right. Do what you got to do day. Let's take care of business day. Make sure you make time to sit down and rest day. Drink plenty of water day. Dance in the rain if you get it day. Stay out of the thunderstorms if you get those. We may get thunderstorms this afternoon. I don't think so though. Cuddle your fur babies day. Tell somebody you love them day. Whatever it is that you got to do day, do that day. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, because occasionally it is, simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are a brilliant light, a divine spark, spirit in motion, God in action, an absolutely beautiful masterpiece, and a work in progress at the same time, at your own pace. That's my favorite part of the science. And as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you were a godly. So, explore the truth of your being, get to know who the divine knows you to be, because the divine knows you to be good, and from there, anything is possible. Anything at all is possible. All right, beloveds. I'm going to move on to the process of my day. So I'm going to remind you, Reverend David will be on sometime this afternoon. Who knows when. I'll be back with you between 9 and 9:15 tomorrow. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved. And I will see you next time.